Mick Jagger has just found out the hard way that a lot of people in Canada haven't drunk the Kool-Aid. Don't see Justin Trudeau as a heel-clicking, friendly, lovable scamp with a full head of hair just doing his best. Many people that live in Canada remember the way that he tried to evoke the Emergency Act, remember the way that people's bank accounts were frozen because they donated to a trucker protest, remember the way that those truckers were vilified simply because they were protesting about the way they earned a living and the kind of restrictions they faced during the pandemic era. The Canadian people are not idiots. People are not idiots. They are awakened. They don't need a managerial class of bureaucrats with slick hair and slick words governing them. They need the state to get out of the way. They need these bureaucracies to get out of the way. They need indeed to have control over their own lives and their own communities. And as we are experiencing, that is the inert tendency afforded to us by the great miracle of technology and the platforms such as this one that allow free communication and new consensus to emerge. And God, are they working hard to oppress that and prevent that. It seems that we can't get no. Can we get any? Even a little bit of Oh, you do it in your mind.
I mean, we love your Mr. Trudeau. I mean, his family's always been such big fans about that.
It's amazing, of course, because Mick Jagger was once a figure that understood the culture, that exemplified the culture, that demonstrated and catharsized shamanically somehow the culture. He was its sexy anti-establishment, writhe and live and wriggling and leaping and snarling and singing and chanting manifestation. He was the rejection of the decades prior. But now, of course, and I've experienced this in a sort of a minuscule pipsqueak way, what happens is the establishment, it hoovers you up, it sucks you in, it lacquers and shellacks you with its bullshit and claptrap, and then you can't see out no more. And presumably, Mick Jagger, from the kind of life that he lives, and this is no condemnation of Mick, by God, he's earned it, he's an incredible man, he don't know that the people of Canada, almost without exception, don't like Justin Trudeau. The same way the people of Britain don't like Keir Starmer. The same way the real people of America don't like Joe Biden. Not because of the individuals or the people, they're all children of God, but because they are the representatives and exemplifiers of a bullshit system that, frankly, we're over.
By the way, congratulations on the Canadian soccer team getting to the semi-finals.
Oh, it's better change the subject. What about the Canadian soccer team? Boo, we don't care about that either. Ice hockey. People recognise what Justin Trudeau is, a neoliberalist who has been co-opted and captured by a set of globalist interests that require willing stooges like Trudeau to stand up front like boy band members and parrot their ideas. The idea that Trudeau's parroting here is one you'll be familiar with. It's like the kind of peculiar notion that at the end of their lives, our elderly, instead of being revered and cherished, learned from and looked after, the crotchety old bastards, they should be hijacked and mugged and stood up for their property. I mean, do a lot of old people have a bit too much house? More house than they could handle? I'd say so, Justin.
One of the things that always comes up for me is the idea that, on housing, you have a whole bunch of older folks who are living in houses that are too much house for them right now, but their connection to neighborhood, to community, means that no, they don't want to move out to the suburbs or to some different city to be closer to their grandkids. They want to still live in their community's quality of life, and there is no housing that they can afford even to downsize other than staying in their big house. So where you're actually working to increase the amount of apartments or senior assisted living centers in neighborhoods where people currently live in single family homes, that's a piece that you can actually, I don't know that goes directly at the animals challenge here, but it does start to look at the kinds of things that give you a way out that will eventually shift those numbers in a meaningful way.
Note too the weary boredom of the Gen Z audience there, sort of beleaguered and baffled and beaten back by this kind of bureaucratic claptrap that Justin Trudeau himself probably doesn't believe in or even understand. It's the sort of thing that I suppose gets handed to him on a piece of paper and he very politely reads it out, and there's some globalist agenda around the acquisition of property is therefore met. You'd be aware, won't you, of BlackRock recently investing significantly in residential properties as the acquisition of land, whether it's agricultural or developmental land, seems to be accumulating and centralizing in the way that most things seem to be centralizing. And if you're not sure about what Justin Trudeau's attitude is to the gift of life itself, then remember, Canada is the country that will kill you, not only if you're on the edge of death and it's the kindest thing to do. We wouldn't put a dog through the difficult, debilitating final years of decay, would we? And so why would we put an old person through it? Well, they're expanding that. Canada prepares to expand its euthanasia law to include people with mental illness. They're the last people, I say they, we're the last people you can ask whether or not you want to be dead. Yes! Of course I do. Of course I do. But hopefully that feeling might pass. Some Canadians, including many of the country's doctors, question whether the country's assisted death program has moved too far, too fast. Anti-life, anti-divinity, anti-beauty, anti-everything except for a kind of pragmatic, secular citizen management program that gently and carefully migrates power away from you and towards them. And the peculiar thing is, I'm not convinced anymore that it's an entirely rationalist project. I do believe that there could be an occultist dimension, but why don't you let me know what you think about that in the chat. It's a pretty expansive program. People with anorexia have been given the green light for suicide. Oh my God, it's a very, very serious disease, anorexia, and in itself an indication that the whole society has gone off track. The messaging. Do you get anorexia in countries that have not been subject to our cultural models and messages? Open question. And a growing number of young Canadians think that poverty should also be included as eligible criteria. Are you too poor? Yes, I am poor. Good. Would you be better off dead? We'd prefer it if you were a bit deader. Hearing loss has also been included. Good news, you've become eligible for euthanasia. Would I like a trip to Europe and Asia? Yes, that's right. If you'd like to come this way, he's agreed to it. I can't wait to go. Oh, well, it's free will. The individual is the most sacred thing available. 1990. There you go, Canada. That's what progress and liberalism look like. Can you get no satisfaction? That's a double negative, baby. And Canada is so negative, it deserves a double. Hearing loss has been included. Medical bureaucracies have been accused of pushing patients to agree to kill themselves. Have you ever needed God more? We can't make this content without the help of our sponsors. Here's a message from one of them now. Are you struggling with back taxes or unfiled returns? The IRS is escalating collections, adding, get this, 20,000 new agents and sending over 5 million collection letters to kick off 2024 to spend on things that you probably don't agree with, like wars and measures and a total lack of infrastructure. In these challenging times, your best defense is Tax Network USA. Don't let the IRS take advantage of you. With over 14 years of experience, Tax Network USA have saved their clients over $1 billion in back taxes. No matter the size of your tax issue, their expertise is your advantage. They specialize in negotiating with the IRS, aiming to significantly reduce your debt. Tax Network USA doesn't just negotiate, they also protect your assets from IRS seizures and manage your yearly returns for ongoing compliance. Importantly, they are licensed to help you with all state tax issues, regardless of where you live in the United States. The clock is ticking. Don't wait as the IRS steps up its game. Seize control of your financial future now. Contact Tax Network USA for immediate relief and expert guidance. Call 1-800-245-6000 or visit taxnetworkusa.com/brand. Don't let tax issues overpower you. Turn to Tax Network USA and find your path to financial peace of mind. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.